What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another Bring the Juice Colts podcast live stream. Guys, the Indianapolis Colts finally did it. They finally brought back Anthony Richardson, who was benched the last 2 weeks because of the whatever they decided they wanted it to be about. And the Indianapolis Colts have finally brought back Anthony Richardson. And not only is Anthony Richardson back to starting today, supposedly he's back for the entirety of this season. Gosh, I just feel so good to finally get to see Anthony Richardson again. I cannot stand a Joe Flacco-led offense. I can't do it anymore, guys. I can't do it. All right? Can't do it. You shouldn't have to deal with it. But we're going to talk about this here today, guys. Before we get into it too much, though, guys, be sure to like the stream as you're coming in. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to comment in the comment section. Would love to talk with you guys. I'm just over here chilling. And I'm also just kind of watching the Pacers game as well in the process of this as well. So thank you guys again so much for tuning in. And I actually do want to start off this stream by actually I actually want to show this. I think it was Steichen's presser from today, talking about the decision to bench Richardson and to also bring him back and things like that. So we're actually going to go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to make sure that I have my things here that it needs to go through so that I can hear. All right, let's kind of look into this, guys. So this is Steichen talking about the Anthony Richardson decision to start him this week and for the remainder of the year. Kind of want to hear it and see a few things, how it plans out. So let's do this.
All right, I'll start off. I want to address, Anthony's situation. I've said the process for a long time. And what I mean by that is the attention to detail in everything he does, from the classrooms to the walkthroughs to practice to the weight room, all those little things, right? It just got to be at a higher standard. And that's what was talked about. And that's where we went with it. And so that was discussed with him 2 weeks ago. And those were those conversations that took place. And over the last 2 weeks, he's made strides in those areas, big time strides. Becoming a pro's pro. And is he a finished product? No, he's not. And it's my job to help him get there along with the rest of the coaching staff. But he's a hell of a talent. Like I said, we've never lost faith or belief in him and his abilities. And he's shown strides. He really has. And with that being said, he will be our starter again. He's going to start this week. He's going to start the rest of the season. All right. And we're going to go from there. And I informed Joe of the decision yesterday.
These,
of course,
are the top 3 sleeper
freaking ads, of course.
He respects the decision, understands it. I talked to the team this morning about it as well. I informed them of the decision. And look, everyone has a different journey, right? Everyone has a different way, development and how you go about the process. And everyone wants instant gratification right now. And sometimes it doesn't work like that. You fight through these times. And I love Anthony. He's a great person. Got great faith in him and his abilities to be our franchise quarterback.
with the attention.
So, there it was. That is Shane Steichen saying that Anthony Richardson will be the starter for the Indianapolis Colts, not just on this Sunday, but the remainder of the season. Now, I will say, I don't know if I fully 100% believe that, because again, we've heard both from Richardson and Flacco that Steichen has said those things that, hey, like, things are, you're gonna make, you're gonna be starting, and then a few days later something else changed, right? So I don't know if I necessarily believe 100% that that's what's going to end up happening, but at least for the time being, if we're believing what we're seeing here from Steichen, then that makes me feel a whole heck of a lot better, because again, and so we finally got a little bit of an answer of what was going on behind this decision, because remember at the beginning, the Indianapolis Colts said it was more or less about the performance on the field, not about the tap out situation. But I mean, obviously it's not really about what happens on the field. It's mainly been about, the work you put in the meeting rooms, the weight rooms, the practices, all of this stuff. People, we were talking about this last week, and, is it the way that Anthony Richardson kind of talks, or the way that he, does things on the field, and maybe you're just like, that's just not in a professional manner. Maybe that's what it was. That could have very well been. And, obviously they said that it's not been about his talent. It's not been about the production. It's been more about how about being a pro's pro. Right. So that's pretty much it for the most part, and hopefully with these strides that he has taken, that Steichen says he's taken, maybe that results in him looking better on Sunday. Who knows? He's going to face a really good Jets defense in their pass coverage, so that's scary. But, he's faced really good defenses already this year, and he's shown that he can do some good things. So let's just hear a little bit more about what we got going on here.
Detail stuff.
Yeah.
If he was struggling with that, was it something that kept going as he was starting, or why was he starting?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think obviously the offseason was good. I think this is the first time going through a full NFL season. You know what I mean? And it's the daily grind and the daily discipline habits that need to be at a high level all the time. Not a sometime thing. It's got to be an all-time thing. Like I said, everyone has, different ways of development, and we're developing him in that process.
You took different things into account when you first made the decision, including, your ability to win games going forward. So is this a decision based on Anthony's progress there in the areas?
I never thought that he would never. I never thought that he would never not play again. You know what I mean? So when I made the decision 2 weeks ago, that was why I made the decision. Hey, Anthony, these are the areas that we need to work on and see growth and improvement. And he's made great strides in those areas.
So there you go. It is. It'll be interesting, and I can respect that, and I can understand that. Remember last year for Anthony Richardson, right? Remember he got hurt remember how last season went down for Anthony Richardson, right? He played in the first game. The next game against Houston, he ended up getting the concussion, right? And then had to miss a week or two because of that. And then, played against the Rams, played against, I don't even know at this point. He played against the Rams and then played against the Titans week 5 and then had that season-ending injury, right? So, yeah, it was definitely a situation where, in that first season where, half of the starts in which he had that in the first place, he wasn't going through the whole season the way that he is now, right? Like he's every single week. It has to be, you have to be locked in all the time, or else it's going to start, you can start slipping. And maybe that's what that is. And I can understand that. I can. And I don't know if I felt like maybe I didn't think that through, and I'm sure a lot of Colts fans probably didn't think that through either when we talked about this, but in regards to that does not, I mean, it's funny because G.I. Joe saying he's proven his immaturity, and lack of being a savvy professional quarterback. Like, dude, he's 22 years old. Not everybody has it figured out when they come into the league. Not everyone does, especially since Anthony Richardson, he only had one season as a college player through all of that. He never had to be on a schedule. He never had to, do a lot of things that he's being asked to do now. He hasn't had those before. And not to mention someone that's going to hold him accountable for those things. Nobody held him accountable before. I'm sure of it. Like, there's difference. Doesn't mean that he's forever ridden of it, because it is what it is. Some guys just don't understand it. Yeah, it's his job, but if somebody doesn't actually ever teach him how to do every aspect of the job, then how's he ever supposed to learn? How's he supposed to get it if he doesn't know that's what it is? He's at a mediocre program in Florida, 100%. He didn't have the resources. He didn't have the coaching. He didn't have all that. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if those strides that he's making turns out to be, turns out to be a good thing for Anthony Richardson going forward.
Why now Monday? Like a couple days ago, it was Joe Stark.
Yeah, no doubt. You evaluate everything. Evaluated over the last 24 hours. Had conversations again, and where Anthony has developed over the last 2 weeks and his growth that he's made. And like I said, is it a finished product? No, but we got a lot of faith that he's going to be our franchise quarterback because of the abilities and the person that he is.
Shane, when you made this move a couple weeks ago, did you view it as a 2-week benching?
I didn't have a timetable on it, but I knew at some point, we weren't giving up on Anthony. Like, hey, here are the things that you need to work on and improve on, and he's been a pro about it.
Do you think you go back to him this year?
Yeah, at some point, you never know. Yeah.
Is there an example of
was mental versus?
So he saying that he didn't know when specifically he would have went back to Anthony Richardson. Would it have been, I mean, was there a possibility he didn't play the rest of the year because of, not, if he didn't make those strides that Steichen says that he did, then maybe he wouldn't have played the remainder of the season. It could have been that way. But like you said, he didn't really have a timetable for it. He kind of just went with it. And I'm sure that mixed with the fact that Joe Flacco has looked terrible and the offense has looked terrible, then then that on top of it, with him being able to make a few strides makes it better for him.
Versus physical with Anthony. To put a percentage on it, it just feels like it was a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think obviously the mental grind of an NFL season, young players come into this league, like I said, everyone wants the instant gratification. And sometimes it takes time for young players to develop, and going through the weekly process of the Monday through Saturday grind. And so he's learning that. He's learning it. It's a process. Like I said, everyone's got a different journey, a different story, to their development. And hopefully we're going to look back at this moment and say, shoot, remember that second year? Where that went and where he's at now.
Shane, are you saying you're guilty of wanting instant gratification? You say everybody's wanting it. We're not the ones to bench them. You are. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Like with anything, obviously, I'm just saying people want everything to be perfect all the time, and it's not going to be perfect all the time. And shoot, I'm the head coach. I got to make decisions every day that I think are best for the football team.
Was this a your decision? Was Jim involved?
Yeah, I talked to Chris. I talked to Jim. I talked to everybody, but ultimately it was my decision.
I know when you went through the.
Okay, so he's saying that those comments about immediate gratification made me think this move had more to do with Ballard or Irsay. I don't know. He said it specifically. It was his decision. I don't know. He could have definitely been covering one way or the other, but you know, it is what it is. Either way, you know, that is very true. I keep saying it all the time. Football fans are impatient as hell. We're very impatient people. We're not only, most of us in here are Americans, right? Most of us in here are Americans. Maybe a couple different people that are foreigners, you know, that watch this from overseas or whatnot. You know, and especially it's an American thing. Like, we have virtually no patience. And on top of it, NFL fans or football fans in general have no patience. None. It's a non-existent virtue. So, yeah, it's very hard to sit back and say, hey, for a full season, this may look terrible, but we're going to have to try to let them figure it out. You know, it was hard for me to accept that, but I've accepted it. I've moved on from it.
Draft process.
Yeah.
The plan guys had for preparation was kind of your biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there just I'm assuming Anthony answered all those things right. Is there just a difference between what you think going in as a young player and maybe like the way it works?
Yeah, again, you never know, right? Obviously, you go through that preparation, the draft process, you go through it. He's a great kid, right? I look at character as number one of my pillars, and he has high character, you know what I mean? So you can work with that, and then you continue to develop the preparation and the process as you go through it.
Has this paused with him, maybe a lot of you guys as a staff, to maybe think up new ways to use him, reevaluate just like what this offense should look like with him?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you evaluate everything every week. You know what I mean? You go through that process on how you want to use them, what you want to do with them, and you go from there.
Why explain the process now? I mean, just
All right, so listen up. Stay farm.
Of course, more ads.
a public meeting for 2 weeks and then now you come out and explain everything.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I understand it, James. I think, you know, a lot of things we want to keep in-house. You know what I mean? We want to keep in-house because it is. There's 53 guys in that locker room, right, that we want to keep things in-house.
Shane, do you worry at all about the mixed messaging in the locker room?
I don't. You know, we had a great team meeting. Everyone's on the same page, understanding of what's going on, and we'll be ready to roll for the Jets.
So yeah, there was a good one. Also shout out to Locked On Colts for this video. This is where this is from. So shout out to them. And shout out to James too, you know, because James was trying hard to get some of these, to press Steichen to try to get some of these answers out of him. And Steichen wasn't letting anything through. And then obviously now Steichen is letting a lot of this out now because Anthony Richardson's now back to starting again. So he's like, why are you letting all this out now? Was like, you know, I can kind of agree, you know, like you want to keep a lot of it in-house. It would have been better if they would have just like kept us in the loop a little bit, or at least dispelled some of the inaccurate takes on why Anthony Richardson was being benched, right? But they didn't do that. They kind of just let the narrative spiral out of control.
Do you wonder at all about, like, is he going to, like, look over his shoulder just given what's happening?
No, made it very clear that he's our quarterback going forward.
How much did Joe's play have to do with it?
It didn't. I'm not going to get into hypotheticals or anything like that. Again, we feel that Anthony's our franchise quarterback, and again, we had to take that time. Hey, this is what's happening. This is what the deal is. We got to develop.
And he was saying again, Richardson is our quarterback going forward. There is no doubt that he doesn't have to look over his shoulder.
In these areas, you got to show improvement in these areas, and he's done it with good strategy.
Can you tell us a way, maybe specifically, like he proved this, that he's ready for this?
Yeah, I think it's
progress
just
he's made.
the little things, the details. When I talk about the details,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the constant grind in the meetings with the note taking. It's the walkthrough, laser focus all the time, just being consistent, right? It's consistent in the process to being the best version of yourself.
And there's a direct carryover between those things and what you do on Sunday in your mind.
100%, because I do believe in the preparation, and the preparation's got to be at a premium, especially at the quarterback position.
Shane asked you this a couple weeks ago, but I guess it's worth asking again. Was he showing up late? Was he not in the building enough?
No, like I said, it's all the little details about walkthroughs, meetings, all those things need to pick up to another level. level.
Are those things quarterbacks? I mean, they don't come out of the womb knowing that stuff, right? I mean, are they groomed to know that stuff, or do they have to learn it?
Yeah, I think
when they get
obviously you
here?
hear it from everybody like, hey, when you get to the NFL, this is what you got to do, but it's another thing about talking about it and doing it. And it's my job as the head coach to get them to that level.
So he's gone through this. I mean,
Again, that was the point that I'm trying to make. Like everyone was saying, like, oh, it's like he should know these things, like because you're a quarterback. Like, no, I mean it's not. I mean these guys don't know this when they come into the league. It's one thing to hear it all the time, but like in today's society, especially, like you'd say all the things that you want, but until you actually live it, until you actually see it and do it and live through that day to day, you don't know how you're going to react to it. And clearly there were a couple of things that Anthony Richardson was missing. There was a couple of things that Anthony Richardson and how he prepared for games and prepared during the weeks. There were some things that he was missing. And I mean, Steichen taking it and saying, that's my job to develop him so that he doesn't miss those things. And I like to hear that from him. Like I understand, like you didn't do enough for your quarterback to help him develop. You kind of let him fall into the cracks a little bit, but then you brought him back up. You're saying, hey, these are the things you've got to do to get better. And like, we're going to keep on you with this, but I need you to do these things in order to make sure that you can be better. And that's what they're doing right now. And I hope that it pans out well for Richardson.
the benching, the tap out, like there's been a lot for him to deal with. You found him like tap into something. You think this is add motivation to his story?
Absolutely. I think it's going to show the resilience of the person that he is, for sure. Because like I've said this 3 times now, but everyone's got a different story and a different journey, to their careers, right? And people are going to go through some adversity. That's how you handle that adversity. You got to see the light at the end of the tunnel and keep grinding.
Yeah, I mean, nomadic, I mean, that is also true. I mean, again, this guy is only in his 2nd year as a NFL head coach, and he's 39, 40 years old? He's not that old. He's not. He's young. For some of the coaches that are out there, a lot of coaches that are in, their late 40s or 50s, some even in the 60s, and have been coaching for how many years? I mean, this guy's still trying to figure it out. This guy's got to get better. And we gave him a ton of credit because of what he did last year. And there wasn't expectations for the Indianapolis Colts last year, and that's why we felt like he was good, because he outperformed what all of us thought was going to happen. And now this year we expected this team to take a leap, and it's taken a step back. We just got to allow him to get more acclimated to this.
And what was his reaction when you told him he's going to be the starter again?
He was excited, man. I'm excited. I've had great conversations with him the last 2 weeks on the process of all those things we talked about. And he's excited for his opportunity, because I know he wants to be out there bad for his teammates.
Have you given any thought, any reflection to how you guys handled this from the beginning? Because you made it very clear when you drafted him, you thought he learned through experience. You made him your starter after 1 preseason game.
Yeah.
Have you rethought that at all? And maybe this might have played out different. I don't know.
Yeah, obviously, when stuff like this happens, you look back and could you have done things differently? You know what I mean? But you got to, it's like one of those things, right? Like,
Probably going to end it just right there, because it's just going to be repeating a lot of the same stuff. But Derek, can I get a hell yeah for AR starting? Hell yeah, brother. Let's go. Anthony Richardson is back as the Indianapolis Colts quarterback, guys, and I could not be happier for us, for the Colts fan base, for everything. The next home game, you're going to see the crowd erupt when they see Richardson. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They definitely will too, because there was definitely a lot of was a lot of boos on Sunday. So I love it, man. We're going to see a whole new side to the Indianapolis Colts fans. Oh, man. I'm going to the next home game. Can't wait. Bro, let's go, man. Love that, Jacob. Blue Nation domination. Love it, man. I'm happy, dude. I'm happy that the Indianapolis Colts finally were able to make the right decision and get this thing going. So, and Brett Larson asking as well, how's the feeling in the locker room today? They said just one day, but that felt like one bright and energized room. So, I mean, yeah, I could totally imagine it, man. It was very stale with Joe Flacco, man. And, I mean, Richardson just gives you that energy, gives you that spark that everybody in Colts Nation was wanting. Celebratory breadsticks. Nah, fam. I ain't doing that. Why you look like Ryan Grigson's son? I don't know what he looks like. Oh, man. A step in the right direction for sure. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, good to see that Anthony Richardson's back. Good to see that he took into consideration everything the coaches needed from him. And just glad that, we can start forgetting some of this nonsense and, being able to actually see Richardson, develop on the field and, through the ups and the downs. I just want to see, him do all of that. They will be more exciting, that's for sure. Yep, 100%. I mean, they will 100% be more exciting. No question about it. And, that's kind of what this team needs right now. We saw what they look like with we saw what they look like with Joe Flacco out there and how, maybe it was more consistent, but they weren't explosive. They weren't explosive. I mean, go out there, at least have some more excitement, at least give the fans a little some pizzazz to work with, right? So that would be nice. Anyway, we have a shot at the division. Well, let's see. You're 4-6 right now, and the Texans are 6-4. So, yeah, obviously there's a chance. Will they win it? Probably not. But I mean, you never know. I mean, you just never know. Yeah, I agree, man. I hope we start running some spread with AD stepping up. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know when Michael Pittman's coming back. He might be coming back this next week. They had a walkthrough today, and he was a full participant. So. People also forget AR is going through being a dad for the first time. It's hard that first year. Yeah, I mean, and no doubt, AR's got a lot of stuff on his plate. A lot, and and like I said, there's gonna still be a lot of downs when it comes to this team, and there's gonna be a lot of downs with Anthony Richardson, man. But I mean, still though, he needs to be involved. He needs to be getting these types of reps. He needs to be. Michigan Wolverines, my guy. What's good, Derek? Already smashed that like button. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you for always being here, my man. Here's a thought. Fire Ballard and hire Belichick as a GM. Absolutely not on the second part. Yeah, no on that second part there, dude. I can agree on the first part, but not on the not on that second part. Ain't no shot that we need to bring Belichick in to decide things as a GM, bro. As a last dude I would want to have being a GM of anything, bro. Old Colts fans know Belichick is the Antichrist, dude. Finally, we got good news. AR is back, baby. Hell yeah, brothers. Let's go. So happy. Give me Louis Riddick for GM. I'm down. He loves Anthony Richardson. He'll do something about it. Did you ever see a former Colts player ever becoming a Colts GM? I don't know. There's that's a hard thing to do because, you know, you for players it's much different because their style of play sometimes can their style of play sometimes can you know, or the way they used to play just sometimes can affect how they handle things. Let's see how happy you are when AR looks as bad as Flacco did. I don't care though. Like, I expect Anthony Richardson to have problems. Like, honestly. Like, I mean, the problem is that people are assuming, oh, like, we're giving him excuses. Like, no, but like, we expect him to have those struggles, but he's got to learn to get past them by playing. I don't expect the 40-year-old quarterback to be playing because, for one, he's 40 years old. 2, he can't move. 3, he should be better than what he's playing because he's a veteran. Been in the league 17 years. The guy knows everything about the NFL. And he's looked as garbage as what he has been. Right? So that's the only thing about it. So that's the point. Is the quarterback that's young and still figuring it out, I'm fine with those steps. No, we don't need to think about what's next at quarterback. We can start asking that question at the end of next year if Richardson is not getting better. Then sure, maybe. Yep, 7 games left for AR. Ten games, not enough time. Need a larger sample size. Yes, absolutely. I mean, do I need to do this? I do. Hold on a second. Hold on. So, like, this is. Hold up. Here we go. So, this is the stat difference between Josh Allen and Anthony Richardson in that first 10 games, first 10 career starts. Same passing touchdowns, pretty much same rushing touchdowns. Josh Allen got one on there. Had 2 more turnovers than Anthony Richardson in his first 10 starts. Passer rating was worse than Anthony Richardson's. Could you believe it? Completion percentage, barely better. Win-loss, it's about the same. Again, you cannot sit here and just judge a guy off of this. Could you imagine if Bills fans and if Sean McDermott and the Bills organization gave up on Josh Allen after 10 starts because of this? Think of where they'd be. Think if Josh Allen would not be with the Bills, he'd be tearing it up with somebody else. Maybe. And no, don't hit me with the, stop with the Allen comparison. It's the exact same thing. I'm not saying Anthony Richardson will eventually become Josh Allen, but it proves the point that guys that are bad when they come into the league right away, not all of them end up being busts. You have to give them the people and the resources and the development they need to make them better. These are what these two guys looked like in their first 10 starts. They're identical. Not saying that Anthony Richardson's going to eventually become Josh Allen, but is there a potential that Anthony Richardson can become better? Much better? Josh Allen is living proof of that. And get this. Hold on. I'm gonna look this up. I'm actually going to look this up. So let's just talk about this more while we're at it. Hold on a second. I'm going to just look up something with the with Josh Allen real quick. Hold on. So I want to remind you that Josh Allen had a full 2 seasons at Wyoming. A full 2 seasons. Even had only like a few pass attempts when he was a sophomore in college. So again, he had more time than Anthony Richardson did when he came into the league. He was more prepared, and he still looked that bad. So, like, this is not just one guy does it and the other guy can't. Like, that's not true. And you're right. The only difference is Allen had more production in college and more experience than AR coming into the league. No doubt. So that's why you can't give up on the kid you can't give up on the kid after only 10 games. You have to give him more time. You have to allow him to try to get better. If you don't allow him to do that, then how is he ever going to succeed? Seriously. More excuses, his integrity and maturity were never in question. What are you trying to imply by that? Are you implying that he's not mature and he doesn't have integrity? Or is that what you're saying? Or Stroud is regressing now too. Yeah, he's had a little bit of a sophomore slump, no doubt. Would you rather be the Jets who waited for Rodgers to come back and who are struggling more than us? It's not like it's a surprise we have a young QB figuring it out. Exactly. What do you mean? Like maturity and integrity. Oh, wait a minute. So because a guy is 22 years old, hasn't been in the position for very long, and he still struggles to figure it out all the way, that all of a sudden means he's not mature and he doesn't have integrity? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? How stupid does that sound? Maturity is completely different when you don't understand job responsibilities or how much time and effort goes into something right away. Like, I mean, really? Like, come on. Tapping out of the game. He tapped out for one play. He tapped out for one play. He made a stupid mistake. He's got to live with it. But that doesn't define you. That doesn't mean he's not mature. That doesn't mean he doesn't have integrity. So what? He tapped out for one play where he threw a 300-pound lineman off of him. I don't like that he did it. I was just like everyone else that said, hey, you shouldn't do that again. Don't ever do that again. Waste a timeout or, run something else. But, like, that's just stupid to say he doesn't have integrity or he's not mature because of that. Derek versus Cody, Madden 25 match when? Dude, y'all want to see me smoke Cody and Madden? Oh, dude, please. Dude, I did college football 25 with him when I went to his house in last July when we were going to training camp. And it was I destroyed him, dude. Destroyed him. He rage quit. Agreed. And Sam Darnold was some of the consensus #1 pick. I mean, not everyone has the same path. That'd be legendary to see. Well, maybe we'll live stream it one time. G.I. Joe. Dude, I haven't seen a ton of your comments, but AR said college ball was easier than the NFL. Yeah, he's out here saying stuff with his teammates on a podcast, bro. I'm not going to take everything he says I'm going to take everything he says with a grain of salt on things like that. And there might be things that were a little bit easier. And you know what? And this is the great thing because he hasn't played. Yeah, exactly. He don't know. He literally has played 10 starts. He's played 10 starts. Yes, 100%. 100%. That wasn't immature. It's what is immaturity to you? Is it just the immaturity of being an NFL quarterback or immaturity as a human being? Like, y'all were trying to say, oh, he's too immature to be an NFL quarterback. Like, nobody questions his character or his or him as a person. That is immaturity. Immaturity is something that a child would do. Is something that a child would do. There's plenty of guys that are cocky enough to say things on a podcast when they really can't actually back it up. Okay, that's not immature. That's just being who you are. Okay, that's not immaturity. Your caption is Cap. You said take him out with the rest of us his last start. I did not. I did not. I never once said, oh, the Colts need to bench Anthony Richardson. Never once said that. He's only played 10 games because he can't stay healthy. Well, yeah, because after his 5th game, he had a freaking season-ending injury. That happens. Lots of players have them. Matt, I can agree with that a little bit, man. Yes, and I agree. Ballard needs to be gone regardless either, too. I totally agree with that. Yeah, I mean, like, it was the game slowing down. What's crazy, too, hey, Ozai, how you doing? Remember when JT said that? Like, when he got drafted right away? I mean, he said through the first half of the season, it took him a while to get acclimated. Then by the end of the year, he looked like he was doing really good. So, I mean, that's the thing. You have to give these guys time. How much time? I don't know. But, I mean, you can't, it certainly isn't enough right now. That's the thing. It certainly isn't enough. I'll go rewatch my live at the end of that, but I know for a fact that I never said that Anthony Richardson should be benched for Joe Flacco. I never said that. Never have. Because through all the ups and downs, I want Anthony Richardson to play. Yes, I am doing play-by-play this week. Everyone was heated by his tapping out. Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. Pat McAfee was too. Pat McAfee was one of the leaders in the put Joe Flacco in because Anthony Richardson, you can never do that. In the history of the league, there's never been someone to do that. Anthony Richardson is not it. And then 2 weeks later, we're like, oh, I was wrong. I shouldn't have blown that out of proportion like I did. You know, like, I mean, again, it's okay. It's okay to say, hey, I messed up. He messed up. He shouldn't do that again. We all get it. We all know that he can't do that again. No doubt. But but at the same time, like, it's just, it was one play. It's blown out of proportion. Yeah. How do I feel about Steichen coming back with no Ballard? I'd be fine with it. Jeez, Pacers. He just lost a double-digit lead because you keep trying to shoot threes. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. I'm super happy that he's back. I'm super happy that Anthony Richardson's gonna finally get the reps that he needs. You know, for whatever reason it happened, I totally get it now, and I'm willing to just move on from it. Just willing to move on. I think we realize that it doesn't matter how if Joe Flacco plays or not. It's not going to make this team any better. And we have to see this Indianapolis Colts team try to take those steps. The only way you're going to do that is by figuring out if Anthony Richardson has anything in him or not. And if any of the stuff that Shane Steichen is talking about is resonating, that over the last 2.5 weeks going into this game, that Anthony Richardson has been taking his work more seriously. He's been prepping better. He's been doing all of these things. Then hopefully it will show a little bit on Sunday against the New York Jets. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always,